So Joe Biden has stated that any Russian troops crossing the border into Ukraine would trigger a swift response from the US and allies in Europe, probably in the form of sanctions and not like military intervention, because that could kill everyone in the world. Biden has been unwilling to institute sanctions so far so as not to dilute their deterrent effect. Ukrainian soldiers interviewed by various reporters stated their belief that an invasion is inevitable.
This one has been on my mind a lot.
Yeah, well, it's everywhere right now because, of course, it is. It's scary.
Yeah, it is scary, and I'm a sci-fi idiot. I don't even really believe in states. I don't even really believe in countries. I think that if everybody just wasn't a jerk and we just kind of helped each other, life would be much better. But if we're going to play the game, if we're going to play the game of borders, we're going to play the game of borders.
Yeah, right.
I think about this with our southern border as well. Why do it seems like in the world of countries and playing the game of borders that your border would be like your last call. Like if some guy is being a jerk to me out in the yard, I'm just all right, screw this. I'm going inside. I'm not dealing with this. And I go inside and then he follows me in. All hell breaks loose at that point. You have crossed my border.
That's when you call the police.
Yeah, but now, that's when I call or I do something about it, probably more likely, while my wife calls.
Yeah, fair enough.
So
if you're me, you call the police because he would
absolutely. You're terrified because somebody came across your border. I mean, obviously, we all understand the fear that comes with that.
Sure, yeah.
And so I think about this a lot with our southern border. And up until now, the Ukraine, Estonia has been dealing with USSR, isn't it? And they've been really terrified of them. It seems like crossing a border would be all hell breaks loose. You cross that border and we all know that all hell breaks loose. But we're not really playing the border game. We're just all, okay, well, you can push the border a little bit. It's only been established for, 60 years or something. But it's cool. It's like, I don't know.
That border hasn't been around 60 years because
okay, if you want to think about
since the USSR collapsed. So,
right. Okay. So the collapse of the USSR, a generation or more.
Yes.
But if you want to look back behind that, even during the USSR, Ukraine was a place.
No, that's true. And it's been, I think it's like wiggled a little bit, but I think ultimately the reason why it isn't just like you cross that border, we'll shoot you is because we don't want a nuclear war, like I said.
No, I know that,
Russia.
But you would think you would think crossing the border would be the nuclear button. Like we threaten each other with the nuclear button. If somebody came in my front door, I'd be all, this button is going down if you don't get the hell out of my door. This is a fight to the death at this point. You came through my front door.
Well, Russian...
Even worse if you came through the back door or the side door, that's even more scary. So it's like you came across the border. It's scary.
Russia is playing chicken right now with the whole world, and we are losing.
And why don't we team up? Why doesn't every country send an army to the border of the Ukraine and say, knock that crap off, slap them with the stick. This is it. If you're playing this game, if we're playing the game of borders, it's about to get weird.
Well, because that would start a war with Russia, which, again...
I don't think it would if every country landed on their border and basically said, knock it off.
They
don't have enough missiles to nuke all of us.
Actually, they do. So there are about 4,000 cities in the world defined as places with about 10,000... with above 10,000
without
people.
Wiping themselves out. We're not coming in. Okay. We're not coming across your doorstep. But you are not coming across this doorstep. That's all I'm saying.
I'm just saying, if we want to play the game of like, if we want to throw down ultimatums, Russia is just as capable as the entire world minus Russia of throwing down, the ultimatum to end all ultimatums,
Right. But this is a reasonable ultimatum. You don't get to
invade
cross
Ukraine.
the border. You don't. Now, Russia is upset about something specific, isn't it? That the Ukraine is going to join NATO or something.
Right. Yeah. So they're upset
because they don't bring these armies to their border, which is why they're upset.
Right. But I mean, that is their stated reason. So that's
what other reason is there? Is there like a shortage of tape decks and tracksuits, and they gotta?
Well, I mean, Ukraine was part of the USSR for a long time when Putin was coming into power. People think that Putin probably, based on statements he said and stuff he said to advisors, that he has an expansionist philosophy, and he's said a whole bunch of times, yeah, Russia should totally control all these countries again. So I think that is definitely part of it. I think he's probably been looking for an excuse to annex the Ukraine again.
Yeah, it's weird. Really weird. And it's a weird country to start with.
I don't know what to say or what to think about it. I'm glad we appear to be being more cautious just with the military options, but because I don't trust Vladimir Putin to not be crazy.
Yeah, he's kind of not crazy guy. Though. That's the thing about him. But he's full on Bond villain.
No, I mean, he has this reputation as master manipulator. He's a wacko. He is kind of a wacko authoritarian strongman, and people just don't really realize because they don't look at his statements. But he's a scary guy, and I would not want to push him. But maybe that's sort of what he wants us to think. I'm sure in some sense it is. But
well, do the Russians like him?
That's hard to say since there's no
do the Ukrainians like him?
Some of them, yeah, but a lot of them really don't. So it's
weird.
Honestly kind of divide between pro-Russian and anti-Russian Ukrainians.
All right. Well, you're listening to Radio Wasteland, and I would like to throw in that I propose a lot of questions and a lot of stuff like that. I do not know what I'm talking about. I like to consider myself. Kara here is like Doctor Who, and I'm like the companion that travels along to be the voice of the of your rando. I'm the voice of the rando. Watch more Doctor Who. You're listening to Radio Wasteland. Come on back.